Life of Fred. We are on chapter 3 about equations. But when we worked some of these problems, I noticed that not all of us used equations. So I want to work number 1 before we get to the next chapter. So it says, in Fred's rose garden dream, he gathered 132 roses. There were 2 red roses for every 7 yellow roses for every 3 white roses. How many roses of each kind were in the bouquet? Can you tell I've been painting this weekend? Okay, so let's try this. So he's got 132 total roses. There are 2 red roses. We'll let X be the roses. So 2 red plus 7 yellow of each kind. This is a ratio, plus 3 white roses of each kind. So see how we used the ratios of 2 red to 7 yellow to 3 white to create an equation. So let's solve it real quick. 2 plus 7 plus 3. 2 and 7 make 9, and plus 9 plus 3 makes 12. So we have 12x equals 132. So we have just a basic equation. So you say, what's happening to the x? It's being multiplied. So we're going to divide. 132 divided by 12 is 11. So x equals 11. So that means if this was red and this is yellow and this term is white, then 2 times 11 is 22 red roses, 77 yellow roses, and 33 white roses. So as we're working these, try to use an equation so that we can, because this is the whole point of this, is we're learning to solve equations. And these are pretty easy to figure out without equations, but we're going to see where they get where they're not. Okay, so let's turn the page and see what happens to Fred now. We'll include some more of these ratio problems when we get to cities at the end of this chapter. If you attempted to do these your turn to play problems on paper before you looked at the answers, you can now say that you are doing algebra. If you wish, and if this is your book, not someone else's, you may cut this apart to keep. Don't cut it apart to keep. There's your ribbon. If you merely just read your turn to play problems and looked at the answers without trying to do them yourself, then, well, I'm afraid you don't get the award. Sorry. Fred was sitting on his 3 phone books at his desk writing his lecture for the trick class he taught at 9 a.m. tomorrow. He drew a right triangle, which looks like the corner of a square, and cut it into 2 angles he called A and B. It looked like angle B was about twice as large as angle A. That is to say, the ratio of the degrees in angle A to the degrees in angle B was 1 to 2. Since a right angle is 90 degrees, Fred wrote his lecture notes. Ratio 1 to 2, same as 1x to 2x, so 1x plus 2x equals 90. 3x equals 90. So A is 1x, so it's 30 degrees. B is 2x, so it's 60 degrees. There was a knock at the door. Fred thought to himself, it's 8:30 at night. I wonder who's there. He called out, come in. It was Sam the janitor. You can tell that by reading his name badge, Samuel B. Winstrom, Chief Educational Facility, Math Department Building, Kittens University, Inspector, Planner, Remediator for offices 225 through 324. The Inspector, Planner, Remediator part of his name badge provoked a lot of questions from the faculty when they first read it. As Sam explained it, they told me when I first took this job that I was to find full waste baskets, Inspector, Think about emptying them, planner, and then empty them, remediator. Sam was a cool guy. Everyone liked him. Sorry to disturb you, Professor Goss, Sam said. Your faculty mailbox got so full that the department secretary said I should bring it all to you. Sam placed 120 letters wrapped with the rubber band on Fred's desk. Fred had already picked up his morning mail, and these 120 letters were the afternoon mail. Fred had been receiving a lot of mail since the news of his distinctive teaching style hit the national newspapers, magazines, television, radio, and internet. Darlene had even overheard something about the Fred teaching style in the beauty shop. A typical newspaper front page read, "New math teaching method sweeps nation. Professors burned their old lecture notes. Kansas." Thousands of teachers of mathematics gathered yesterday outside the main quad of Kittens to honor Professor Fred Goss and his new teaching method. Each teacher threw into the bonfire their old teaching notes and pledged to teach the new Fred way. "It's revolutionary," exclaimed one teacher. "My students have stopped asking me, what good is this stuff?" Another teacher has signed up for the first time in her life to teach summer school. She explained, "I really love teaching the Fred way, and my students do too." Taking their cue from the stories in the best-selling Life of Fred series, teachers have had their classrooms packed with eager students. Continued on page 12. We'll flip it over. The Fred way, details revealed, Washington. In an exclusive interview with Professor Goss, rhymes with house, he revealed the secrets of his success in teaching math. "All I do," he confided to reporters, "is tell stories in which the uses of the mathematics naturally arise. No boring definition, theorems, proof, definitions, and theorem stuff." Our Fred, the sweetheart of our nation, heartthrob. Postal workers report that hundreds of marriage proposals have poured into Kittens University. The sale of love stamps has doubled recently, and a new romance novel is continued, page 18. Fred quickly dealt the letters into 4 piles. Number 1, the marriage proposals, which were perfumed and had SWAK on the back. Number 2, job offers. Number 3, requests for interviews, and 4, letters from appreciative students. Looking at the piles, he noted that there were 7 proposals for every 1 job offer, for every 3 requests for interviews, for every 4 letters of appreciation. How many of each letter were there? Since this is old algebra, which you are now well acquainted with, we'll just stick it in a box so you can ignore it if you wish. 120 letters, 7 to 1 to 3 to 4. 7x, number of proposals, x, job offers, 3x, interview requests, 4x, letters of appreciation. 7x plus x plus 3x plus 4x equals 120. Combine the like terms, divide by 15. That's what x equals. X is 8. So 7 times 8, 56 proposals of marriage, 8 job offers, 24 interview requests, and 32 letters of appreciation. At the age of 5, Fred was hardly interested in the 56 smelly letters. Half of his friends were female, but he hardly paid attention to which half. When the proposals started to come in, Fred had asked the department secretary to send a letter to each of them thanking them for their proposal. In order that they would not take Fred's rejection personally, an explanation was included that his romantic life was currently full. That was, shall we say, technically true, since his romantic life needs were like that of any 5-year-old, namely 0. The supermarket tabloids had a field day with "His romantic life was currently full," and published his picture surrounded by half a dozen beautiful women with the headlines, Which one is it? This greatly embarrassed Fred. The job offers and interview requests were also passed on unopened to the department secretary, who mailed out form responses. Fred himself read and responded to the letters of appreciation from students. As Fred was turning over each envelope to check for SWAK, sealed with a kiss, he smiled, thinking that every envelope is a rectangle. They have 4 sides and all right angles in the corners. I wonder, he thought, is it legal to mail envelopes in other shapes? He drew some crazy shaped envelopes. Your ordinary envelope, if the width is A and the length is B, then the area is big A equals A times B. The distance around the edge of the envelope, which is called the perimeter, is P equals A plus B plus A plus B. Or you can write it P equals 2 times A, because there's 2 A's, plus 2 times B, 2 sides that are the length of B. Or what about an envelope in the shape of a trapezoid? 4-sided with exactly 2 parallel sides. Fred's favorite envelope shape, he decided, was the sector, which is the shape of a piece of pie. He thought Stan Anthony could use the shape of an envelope to mail out advertisements. He was having all kinds of fun playing with the mathematics. His story was ready for his trig lecture tomorrow. The mail had been sorted and it was playtime. It wouldn't be fair to let Fred have all the fun. Get out a piece of paper, please, 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 and enjoy. Your turn to play.